And we are live. Thank you so much for tuning in to Never Over Live, your number one source of live viewing parties of each and every WWE pay-per-view, where we provide to you instant analysis and reactions of those very pay-per-views, like Fastlane, coming up this Sunday, March I don't know the date, doesn't really matter. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is the Wrastle Recap Podcast number 15. Number 15? Number 16.
No, wait. Oh, wait. Wait, hold on. Patience.
Wrastle Recap Podcast number 16. Yeah, okay, number 16. For March the 2nd, this is the going home episode for Fastlane, where we talk about, Benjamin puts in his predictions, we discuss the things that happened leading up to Fastlane, as well as discuss the key points of wrestling that happened, give our thoughts, feedbacks, where the product is going. So that kind of stuff interests you. Maybe you can go back and check out our past Wrastle Recap podcasts on the channel, as well as if you enjoy watching us watch wrestling, tune in this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern. Yep. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's at 9.
Pre-show starts at 8.
Yes, there we go. I was drawing a blank. Yep.
You're all out of whack.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our pre-show will start. You can join us here. We'll talk about what we think think about the pay-per-view that's about to happen, kind of have some back and forth, kind of predict where things are going to go, because, this is the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, so we are in big PPV mode, basically, with this podcast and that pay-per-view Fastlane on Sunday. So if you like to listen to us talk about wrestling, you like to listen to us talk about watching wrestling, hit the subscribe button and keep it locked right here. So without further ado, it's
pretty spacious here on the couch.
It is spacious.
We're usually a 3-man tandem. Brad has some work-related responsibilities. He cannot make it to us tonight. So what we're going to do is, out of typical fashion, where the three of us will break down our predictions. I will be giving my predictions myself. Kind of the way traditionally we used to do predictions, where the champ would give theirs, and then the two challengers would have their opportunity to give their predictions during the pay-per-view pre-show. That's what we're going to be doing this time. So I will be talking about my predictions. I think I'll save those for the end.
Yep.
But ultimately what we'll do is we'll talk about what we want to talk about. A lot of news this week.
Yeah, a lot of things went down this week.
In the E.
Yep.
So a lot of things to talk about there, as well as SmackDown, the WWE title picture's a mess a little bit. We'll try and figure that out. And then I'll give my Fastlane predictions at the very end of the show. So
yeah, sounds good. So what of the past week, since we last spoke, where would you like to start? Would you like to talk about SmackDown, then we'll switch our focus to Raw, because Fastlane's coming up, kind of back.
Yeah, may as well go SmackDown first. So SmackDown ended this past week with the Randy and Bray storyline really coming to a peak. Randy going out to the compound, lighting it on fire, burning down Sister Abigail's burial ground. A lot of people thinking it was just Randy turning back to face. Some people think it's a double turn. Some people unsure really what to call it. What do you think?
I think it feels more like a double turn to me. Or I think they were going more for a double turn angle. I think what they ended up actually getting may be more of a double face situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bray, having won the title, put him over. It was kind of like, wow, this has been years. Finally he did it. They finally have done it. This guy who should have had the title years ago has it now. And I think people really got behind that. But then putting Randy into actually like an interesting story, like doing some actual storytelling, which you can only get from these really fictitious characters. That I think has put Randy back on the map. I think people are liked the depth and the range Randy gave, where it was kind of like, I'm burning this to the ground, like, I'm coming for you, like, I think they were aiming for a face turn Bray, heel turn Randy. Yeah. I think they got two faces out of it. Not necessarily a bad thing, because the WWE right now, I think the main roster as a whole, desperate for some high-end faces.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a lot of high-end faces.
Which is interesting, because it seemed like just a while ago everybody was either a heel or a tweener. And so, yeah, I would still say that they are desperate for some faces. I have to give a shout out to Squared Circle, because they put a theory together now that is thinking that Eric Rowan plays a larger role in all this, because during July, or back in July anyway, when the Wyatts were feuding with the New Day on Raw pre-draft, footage came out of Eric moving a body, and like he just uploaded it to his own Twitter. And it was just him relocating a body. And then back in September, before Randy and Bray even had their first match, Randy cut this promo about how a man is hunting a rabbit, kills the rabbit, finally gets the rabbit and sees a snake there, and the man approaches the rabbit slowly, the snake doesn't move, and then once the man takes the rabbit and turns his back, the snake attacked the man, because once he saw the man, he knew he could have both.
Right.
And so, like, that was before Randy even joined the Wyatts.
Yeah.
So I think SmackDown has this level of storytelling involved that I think Eric Rowan moved the body of Sister Abigail
out of the compound.
He
vanished for a while due to, like, injury. Well, he was injured for real. Yeah.
So I think there's opportunity there for the story to evolve.
Holy cow, that could...
Because he's tweeted a couple things since being out, like a couple of videos and a couple of things being like, if one man knows a secret, you have a problem. If three men know a secret, you have an emergency. If, like, three men knowing a secret could mean 1,000 know a secret, something along those lines.
Sure.
That, like, is referencing him, Luke.
Still, that's some deep... If this is for real and they're doing this kind of thing, that's some deep-level storytelling that the WWE has been lacking hard. I think that's why so many people gravitated towards the whole Triple H, Seth Rollins thing, because it was some storytelling that was...
It felt real.
Yeah, you were dropping your, like... Your foreshadowing of to come, so you wanted to see what was going to happen, and you couldn't tell what was going to happen. So this is a similar situation where it's like, man, if they go back and they call out something done months and months ago and bring it together brilliantly, that gets people invested, because it's a show then.
Yeah.
It's storytelling. You found a way to bring back a guy who has been on the shelf for a while and bring him back with some interest, because then you'd be like, holy cow, I want to know what Eric Rowan's doing.
Well, maybe Eric Rowan, like, is then possessed by the spirit of Sister Abigail, and he becomes this real monster on SmackDown.
Wow, that'd be good.
And so that gives him, like, this edge then, like, he's
a power level to him. It's like, there's something weird about him.
The mystique about him.
The music's kind of weird. He comes out to the jumbo. You can play the whole piece. Yeah. That would be very neat.
And I mean, like, you talk about the Triple H Seth storyline and the way you can suspend your disbelief, because that is a storyline that you can invest in because it is real. Like, it feels real. We all know Seth missed WrestleMania last year. We all know the threat was there with him missing WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
Like, you feel dread for Seth. Yeah. You empathize with Seth, and
you can sympathize him, because it's kind of the guy versus the system. It's more like the Daniel... no, I guess it's... They did that with Daniel Bryan, him, the underdog versus the, like, authority.
But this is like
a little bit different.
This to me is evolution again.
Yeah,
Triple H playing that role again, and I would love to see Randy do this, but to be the guy who makes the stable with Triple H as the Ric Flair, Randy as the Triple H, and then two young guys.
Yeah,
American Alpha would be a great fit there, actually.
Why not? Well, this is going to tie into another talking point we have listed over here, but what if you have Kurt Angle as that mentor?
Yeah, that's a good call-out.
Make Kurt Angle the Ric Flair, so then you can put Kurt in low-key situations where he doesn't actually have to do a whole bunch. Make him the mentor to the group. Have Randy be the Triple H. This would require them, though, to
get Kurt and Randy in the same circles.
Not in the same circles so much, but you'd have to put the belt on Randy because you need to validate. Like when Triple H formed Evolution,
he had the world title.
Yeah, he was the world title, and
Randy
he was the man.
Randy had the IC, and Rick and Batista had the tags.
Classic stable formation. So it's like you could do that with American Alpha, and it's a great idea. Like we've talked about it. If you go back and watch our other podcasts from weeks past, it's a theory we brought up. It's a solution we think could be applied kind of anywhere to guys who need the kind of the kick in the pants. Not so much for them to get up and get going, but a kick in the pants kind of with the fans, to get the fans on board with a guy.
And somebody needs a stable. Raw or SmackDown, somebody needs a stable. They gotta get... Trying to get the volume down. There we go. I might turn our gain down a bit too. But, they need that. They need something that can go up and be at the top of the card, because right now the top of Raw's card's a mess. SmackDown's is a little bit worse, just because... it's not worse. It's a little bit better, just because there's less cooks in the kitchen. I didn't expect AJ to get the win over Luke Harper, but there was some controversy there, so there might be a reverse decision, and then that sets up, unfortunately, AJ and Shane at WrestleMania, and then that puts Luke Harper in the picture. I don't know what's going to happen there. They keep...
If they were wise, the Shane AJ rumors, where do they come from? What is that about?
Meltzer.
Okay, it was his... Okay, he put it out there. But how does AJ and Shane make sense?
Well,
that's kind of the question I have. It doesn't...
They just spatted on Talking Smack here on Tuesday.
Oh, did they? Okay, so they are quietly doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I couldn't figure out the angles. There's no former animosity.
Nope.
They
have no relationship.
There's nothing you could really cross blows with them. You know what I mean? It's a story that doesn't tell itself well. So that's how I was kind of curious where it came from. Now they're building the story. That's fine. But man, oh man, that's a waste of talent.
Well, I just don't understand how Shane expects to wrestle a technical match against arguably the best technical wrestler on the planet right now.
Yeah, I don't know how he'd do it either.
He's a spot monkey.
He is a spot monkey,
which also ties into the Hardy angle that we'll talk about in a bit, but he's a spot monkey who is gonna throw hands with AJ, who doesn't really throw hands. He's a wrestler.
He's a weird adrenaline junkie that it worked. If it was a pro wrestling match, okay, fine, I can kind of get on board with Shane doing something insane. But where's the spot this year? How do they work the weird gimmick into it? What's the MO here? You go back to Shane just jumping off of the turnbuckle through the table. We've seen Shane do that a couple times, and it's cool because wow, you're not a wrestler and you go balls out, but
now we've seen AJ take an AA off the top rope and kick out.
Yeah. So
if he takes an elbow drop off the turnbuckle through the announce table, that's not going to be much of anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's weird. For me, that whole situation and pulling it back to the top of the SmackDown card, to me, I think what would be best, Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. What if Shane puts himself in that match?
That would be bad.
That would be?
Okay. It would be bad from the standpoint because I think Luke Harper should be there.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be much better than AJ and Shane because you could hide then Shane away most of the match and then have him have the crazy spot. Have him jump off this would be a perfect spot. Have him jump off the turnbuckle to elbow drop someone through the announce table. Have him try to elbow drop Randy and Randy RKO. See, that would be a good spot. So you can figure out very easy ways to make Shane vanish and reappear for the spots. Everybody likes it. It's all good. Fatal 4-Way makes a lot more sense if you have AJ and Shane that way. Put them in the top of the... Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to see AJ in that match because he's the big name.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is the big name. He's the big guy. Both shows. So he should.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
No, I know. It's just
you had to say it.
Yeah, but when you think, like, just back to the story, he is. I think you would agree. AJ is the big name on both shows.
Yep.
And it's just, I thought you were laughing at the fact that it's just when you look back to where he came from and how he got here, it's like he's always had the ability, but he always did it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So for him to come here and be like, give that the light and have that international prowess and the ability, and it's like, man, this guy, like, this is the Shawn Michaels of our generation. Like, you know, it's great to see, but he's got to be in the main event. Yeah. I think if they put him with just Shane, that's a waste. So I think a fatal 4-way with Shane, AJ, Randy, Bray will then make it easier to have the AJ Shane thing happen. gives the adrenaline junkie some opportunities to actually be in there, do whatever he wants to do. Best case scenario, Luke Harper, AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, fatal 4-way elimination match. I don't know. Fatal 4-way something. I think Luke Harper should be there. I think Luke Harper should pick up a significant elimination
by pinning like Randy.
Yeah, Randy or Bray or AJ, or whoever you decide should be the champion moving forward. But yeah, it's tough. It's, you know, the title card on SmackDown side is kind of murky. I think Bray should keep the title for a while. I think they should really pin down that he can go. Yeah. Then the last few years of them really like murkying the waters of his character, making, you know, the validity of the Wyatt family, of Bray specifically, I think then that all goes away if he's the champ for a while. That said, you know, you could work some decent storylines. You know, Randy wins the title, Randy and AJ. I'd watch that match every time.
Yeah, and that match to me screams SummerSlam.
It does. It's got those vibes to it. You know what's funny? To me, Randy seems like Mr. SummerSlam.
Yeah?
You get that vibe. Like, I always, when you mention SummerSlam...
won his first world title at SummerSlam, like... He's always
get Brock last year in the main event, like...
Yeah, main event versus Brock. I mean, he put over Roman the year before, but, like... Yeah. That's not his fault.
It always felt like that's the...
That was a high-profile matches at SummerSlam.
Yeah, he's kind of... And I don't know if anybody's pieced that together before, but he's always seemed like he's Mr. SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. Anyway, a Randy Orton, AJ Styles, SummerSlam, that's a barn burner. Yeah. Like, that would be one of the best matches of the year. Because both guys can work. Both guys are professionals, and Randy's a guy who loves to push the bar. Yeah. And I think AJ is too. They're two guys who love to push it.
Hard to believe they're the same age.
Yeah. It's... What? No, AJ's got to be older. Randy's 36. Randy's a young man.
AJ's only 37 then. AJ's not...
Okay, if AJ's still that young, then holy cow, he's got a ton left to go in the track.
Yeah, he might be 39. He was like 20 when he started in TNA.
I don't think he was that young.
I really do.
I don't think he was that young. I'm thinking he's pushing... he's 40 this year.
Oh, okay.
He's 39. He'll be 40 in June.
Still.
That's still pretty good. He's on this side of 40, so he's still got, you know, a decent year or two.
He's got 10 years if he wants it. I mean, look at the goddamn Undertaker.
Yeah, I think he's still got the prime. He's still in the prime for another year or two, and then he may start sliding away. His style too won't unless he's, you know,
pretty safe.
He's a safe wrestler, but his style, like, you know, the longevity of his style, I don't think really helps him that well.
It's only the forearm really that's kind of high flying.
He's got that 450.
He's got the 450. Yeah, he's got the springboard 450 splash, which is incredible.
So it's tough to say. Maybe he's just one of those guys who can have the longevity. Maybe he does a good job of taking care of himself, keeping himself healthy. If that's the case, then yeah, maybe he can go 5 more years, no problem. But yeah, he's a good age, and you know, but Randy, like. That would be an excellent match. So, but the SmackDown title picture, just to kind of close those thoughts, it's
an interesting one.
And I wouldn't say it's bad per se. It's interesting to see how they're going to go. At least there's some mystique to it. It's not like the Raw side where it's crystal clear how everything's going to play out and there's no surprise on the Raw side at all. SmackDown at least muddled their waters a little bit, where you're like, I don't really like. They could play a few different directions here. Like, I don't see the way out as easy, and that continues to keep me interested.
You have to tune in each week to find out. Well, tune in.
You have to keep tabs on SmackDown every week. You don't have to keep tabs on Raw. You know where Raw's going. Yeah. Like, the next 5 or 6 weeks to Mania, you know exactly how everything's going to play out. So there's no shock and surprises there. You know where it's going. But SmackDown, you got to keep. If you're not keeping tabs on SmackDown week to week, you're gonna miss things. Mm-hmm. So, I can't think. Was there anything else?
Hardys
on SmackDown worth noting?
No.
Yeah,
John Cena and The Miz are starting their feud.
Yeah, okay. So they're building
that's definitely happening.
Yeah. That's kind of, I guess that'd be kind of it.
Kind of.
There's a lot, it's going to be a slow burn. There's got to be a lot of filler nights where you don't do too much with storylines, just because you got a lot of time to kill before you hit Mania, right?
Yeah. So they're doing a good job of it. Like, they're doing a good job padding it out. Like, I thought 7-8 weeks was going to feel like a lifetime for SmackDown, but they're making good work.
Yep. Sure.
So,
if you're just tuning into to us now, guys, this is, thanks for tuning in to Never Over Live. This is Wrastle Recap Podcast number 16 for March 2nd. Just Benjamin and I tonight. Brad had work commitments, so carrying the load by ourselves. We just got finished talking about SmackDown, the top of their card, Randy Orton, the Wyatts, AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. Time to probably, I wouldn't say switch to the other brand, but kind of the middle area of wrestling, and that would be the Hardys coming to WWE? Question mark? Yeah, probably.
It seems to be a very hot topic of conversation, whether it's going to be... They're thinking it's going to be the Raw after Mania. But
that could be a big Raw.
There's just so many questions right now surrounding the Hardys, and like they're telling indies that they can't do any indie bookings
after March. They can't do any more indie bookings after March. That's the same thing Kurt did. You got to keep that in mind. Yeah. Kurt did the same thing. He's like, I can't take any more bookings come. It was either February or March. I think it was March. He said, I can't do any more bookings.
And so
the Hardys saying the same thing. All fingers kind of point to the big W.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the questions stem from who are they going to be when they return. And I mean, I don't think that WWE can do anything but let them be broken. Unless they just leave Matt broken and make Jeff go back to...
I don't think you can. I think the two of them have the whole group of them have transcended their past. Like, they've hit casual guys. Mm-hmm. The casual fans are aware of the whole Broken Brilliance angle and the whole Hardy compound and the family. I think for me, the biggest question becomes... how much creative reign do they have?
And that's the other piece.
To me, that's kind of the big question mark that stands out, because when they were on TNA, they had full reign to do whatever. They had full creative control, and that's why they had the whole thing. They're working the Hardy stuff at the homes and is it Ruby? Not Ruby. Rebby. Yeah, Rebby gets involved, Maxwell gets involved, Senior Benjamin, they have the whole group.
See, this says to me, and the fact that, man, this is so weird.
That world's finally colliding with the big W.
Well, that's what's weird about it, and I'm just trying to think, because I can't think in a world where the WWE doesn't own TNA, how they can bleed that all over and make it relevant, how Matt can make those references and it be alluded to.
I see what you're saying. Okay, how does
the character sure is known to everybody, but the compound might not be, the boat might not be.
The compound and the boat, I think that's fine. You can rework those. Those are easy fixes.
You can never talk about Apocalypto. You can never talk about...
I don't think they have to. I don't think they have to do that, I think they could find ways around that. I don't think those are. I don't think the WWE would even want to get into that kind of stuff. But for me, the characters, I think they're large enough and widespread enough that you can reintroduce them. It's a very easy. If you're a new fan in the past couple years, you probably don't know who Matt Hardy is anyway. If you're a new fan, you probably don't remember Matt Hardy or Jeff in the WWE. So
that's a fair point.
Those are really a concern. Not really a concern. Points. Having the Broken Brilliance characters be introduced. It just, and I think. The way they do their videos, the way they do promos and whatnot, those types of angles, I believe could work. I say that, and I got to point right to SmackDown. Randy basically did that. And the WWE used to do that kind of storytelling where it's they used to have the footage off, pre-recorded footage to do promos. They used to do that quite often, and they gravitated away from it in the past decade. They got really far away from it, but Randy doing what he did on SmackDown, when I saw that, it just screamed Hardys to me. I was just like, this is what the Hardys would do. So I think their type of storytelling, with the Hardys coming back to the WWE, I think it could work. The history of it all, the past, their past matches, the whole compound stuff. That may be gray areas. They probably can't say any of that, but I'm sure Matt will say something that indirectly refers to it.
As he does.
He does it all the time. He's always blurring the lines, so he'll probably say something about it. So, yeah. Smurfy there with an interesting point in the chat. Compound versus compound match, Wyatt's and Hardys. So
that's a good SummerSlam match.
There's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of elements that kind of right themselves with the Hardys. The Hardys coming back. Okay, I guess this should be said. Great shot in the arm, storytelling wise, that the WWE desperately needs.
And it's going to bring that level of fiction to it. That
as long as they get the creative control they deserve.
Yeah.
It was Matt was always overshadowed by Jeff because Jeff was insane.
Yeah.
He was, as you put moments ago, a spot monkey. So
and he was almost a bigger draw than Cena.
Almost a
bigger draw than Cena, which is crazy.
It's insane. But this is TNA gave Matt Hardy creative control, and he created the biggest thing in wrestling in 2016. Is the WWE smart enough to give them enough control? Don't have to give all of it, but it's kind of their major input is we want to do this. Okay, we're going to do that. Let's try and make this work. If they give them that level of control, creative control, then the WWE's running rampant then, because all of a sudden you've just added two big stars. So take away the years they've been away from the WWE and the whole Broken Brilliance thing. Just Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, face value. There is a top carder and there is a mid carder. Top of the mid card, top of the card, coming right back in. They need that stuff. So the name recognition, the Hardy brand, all needed. If you give them the creative control, boom, you're rolling.
Smurf just asked an incredible question. Who do you feel was bigger? If we're talking was as in past tense, then I have a different answer. Who do you feel was bigger, Broken Matt Hardy or Kenny Omega? If we're talking right now, Kenny Omega is hotter than Matt Hardy.
Yeah, right now.
But Matt Hardy got hotter than Kenny Omega did.
Yeah, if you're talking the how big it got, Matt Hardy, I think, got bigger and is still bigger than Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega got really white hot really fast. All of a sudden, he was AJ Styles level of free agency.
All of a sudden, he was the best pro wrestler in the world.
Yeah, it drilled him right on to the map, and that was for Kenny. That's such a big deal. Kenny Omega. People know Kenny Omega all the casual fans know Kenny Omega's name, but I think Matt Hardy had a bigger sweeping impact across all wrestling. I think he changed the game in 2016 in ways that, like, when you look back at, like, Degeneration X, that kind of stuff, they impacted an era. The Hardys, the Broken Brilliance, impacted an era. And they impacted a year. They're, like, this Broken Brilliance stuff, you can ride it for years.
Well, like, I mean, it like, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, like, you can't, a lot of people get lost in Kenny Omega, but Kazuchika Okada as well was in that match also. A lot of people seem to forget that. He helped wrestle a Meltzer 6-star match. And so I think, like, Kenny Omega, as hot as he got,
yeah,
like, it didn't bring as many people over to New Japan as it did back to TNA. Because everybody was watching anything to do with TNA.
Oh, so
or like anything that was tagged with like Broken or anything, like we're talking 1 million views on YouTube for TNA's channel, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Like, they do trash for social media impressions.
Yeah.
But the Broken stuff was doing millions of views because they knew because the Hardys had it. Like, if you couldn't find, I can get proven wrong because we're literally on YouTube right now, but I don't know if you can find a clip from Wrestle Kingdom 11 that has 1 million views that's a part of that main event or that involves Kenny Omega. I know he does his Elite vlog, and, like, that usually gets, like, around 100K and stuff like that, but the Hardys were much more easily attainable as far as, like, understanding of what's going on. Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada is a bit off-putting if you're a casual fan, just because it is New Japan. I know, like, I had reluctance always looking at New Japan Pro Wrestling because I know it is a little bit of a slower, more technical style, and the language barrier as well is what ultimately held me back. Even though, like, everything that needs to be said gets said in the ring, but I think that the Hardys were certainly more approachable to the casual fans versus Kenny Omega, so that's why I would say ultimately the Hardys were hotter overall.
Yeah, that's those. You hit on a lot of great points. It's, you know, when the Hardys were steamrolling through, like, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, 2016.
Yeah.
They were in
the best wrestler. Well, Matt anyway was in the best wrestler conversation all around, best pro wrestler.
Yep.
Because of
the angles, the gimmicks, the storytellings. You were keeping tabs on everything because you wanted to know. It was Apocalypto. We watched Apocalypto the same week it
came out.
It came out because you wanted to watch it. You kept tabs on it. The Wrestle Kingdom 11. You know, most people wouldn't have watched it if it didn't have, like, what happened with Wrestle Kingdom 11. Okay, I guess it's good to put it this way. As soon as the Hardys came about and it kind of snowballed and morphed, it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it was everywhere. And then you kept tabs on it. You wanted to see what was coming. You watched what was coming because you wanted to know.
WWE fans were saying delete.
Yeah, everybody was doing it, the whole delete, and then they created obsolete, and, like, everybody's going bananas. The Wrestle Kingdom 11 was different, though, because it wasn't like people were like, oh, I can't wait to watch Okada and Omega go at it, like, this is going to be great. No, nobody said that. It wasn't until it happened, and everybody's like, wow, that was probably, like,
the
top 5,
match,
if not the greatest wrestling match ever. And then everybody, like, you had all the diehards, like, you know, we tuned into it right away. It was like, okay, let's watch this match. And then it was over, and it's like, holy cow. If you are a casual fan, if you're not a fan of wrestling, watch this, because this is ridiculous. And it was, and that's how Kenny Omega got so hot, so white hot. Now, like, I keep tabs on Kenny Omega because I'm curious how he develops. I want to know how the Young Bucks do.
Yeah, I stay tuned into what's going on. Like, I go on 4chan's ASP.
Yep.
And, like, there's always a thread going on that talks about New Japan. So right now they're doing their Honor Rising tournament, which ties into Ring of Honor.
Yep.
And Omega's in it.
Yep.
And I'm like, there he is.
And then, you know, what helped to keep pushing their envelope a little bit more, make it more relevant over here, Cody Rhodes joins the Bullet Club as the American Nightmare.
Yep.
So he's in that group too. So all of a sudden it's like, you're keeping tabs on it because you just don't know when the next thing's going to come.
Yeah.
But the question, getting back to kind of the quick answer, who was bigger, Hardys or Omega. I think always it was the Hardys.
Hardys got bigger, but Omega's stock spiked faster.
To be a typical engineer, to be a typical nerd, the Hardys' speed is higher. Kenny Omega's acceleration is better.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega just, boom, was white hot. That week, he was the biggest thing in wrestling. The Hardys built towards it and are now just this big moving boulder that cannot be stopped yet. Will the immovable object be WWE creative? And that's kind of like, I can't wait for the Hardys. If this is all confirmed, if this is actually the deal, I cannot wait for the Hardys to show up on WWE just to see what they do. If they got the creative freedom, if they can do the promos, if they can have Vanguard, Senior Benjamin, Rebby, all of a sudden you're telling stories that they used to do in, when the Hardys were around, like in mid-2000s. You had Eddie Guerrero doing weird stuff with the, like, Ray's kid. That's a weird story element.
It isn't weird. Like, that was a very personal story that you knew wrestling was fake. Yeah, and it drew those reactions out.
Yeah, it was
you invested because you knew it was I don't want to say soap opera, but
it was kind of a soap opera.
It's drama. It's television.
Yeah. So that's the kind of the stuff that that's the kind of stuff that makes it so interesting, makes it so captivating. To look forward to. So, when the Hardys come back, and to answer Smurf's question about who would you want the Hardys to feud with if they came back, that's a tough one. I don't know if the Hardys necessarily have to feud with anyone when they come back. The Wyatt family or the Wyatt group would have to be kind of reassembled, rebuilt in some way. They'd make a very natural fit. I think they should wait. Honestly, I think
Dave's got a good David K. Jones there. He's got a good call up with New Day. I don't know who the third would be, but I like that more than Revival.
I was gonna say the Revival. I don't think makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Not now, anyway. There could be more range to it.
Yeah.
But the New Day, that would be the New Day, and this is what I was getting to. The Hardys, I think, make more sense on Raw. I think Raw needs something like the Hardys to get its validity back, because right now Raw is shambling around in the darkness and needs a way out, and I think the two Hardys are that impact guys. They show up and they kind of change the landscape of Raw. If they land there, I think that's where they should go.
That's where, in my opinion, that's exactly where they should go.
Just an aside, because I'm kind of thinking of things as we go along here. Samoa Joe, where did Samoa Joe land?
Raw. Really?
Sorry. Oh, jeez. Okay, no. I'm sorry. What? I got really confused for a second. I was like, he's in a pay-per-view, like... But SmackDown's pay-per-view is this Sunday. I goofed on that one big time. I blew it.
You blew it.
Yeah, doesn't matter. The Hardys, I think, make more sense on Raw. And I think the New Day, the New Day are still, even though they had a really poor gimmick on Monday, poor dialogue on Monday with the whole Oscar thing, trying to land a joke out of that was poorly done. I think the New Day are still very over. They are still very much popular, and I think the Hardys coming in and going right pinned up against the New Day, brilliant way to keep the New Day rolling.
Keep the New Day rolling and introduce the Hardys to the casual fans who watched the New Day hold the belts for 500 days.
Yeah, exactly. So, now the Hardy stuff, if it all turns out to be true, is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting because they're just a big moving boulder, and you'll keep tabs on it because you'll want to know how much creative control will they get. That to me is the big question. So That's the Hardys definitely would make the WWE more interesting, make Raw more interesting if they hopefully landed on that show. So, I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that.
I was going to pivot to Kurt Angle. I was just going to drop the Kurt Angle thing.
Okay. Before we get to that, guys, thanks for tuning into the Wrastle Recap Podcast number 16. We're doing this for March 2nd. We're never over live, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed kind of the conversation we've had here, feel free to go back and check kind of the past Wrastle Recap podcasts. We always kind of freeform the podcast themselves. Just kind of talk, do fantasy bookings, kind of talk about where things are at, and have our thoughts about, the week that was in wrestling. Of course, lots going on. Mania's coming up, so that's kind of where we're focused on. And then, the last little back half of this podcast, we'll be talking about Fastlane. But if you guys have enjoyed what you've heard so far, if you want to tune in to our channel on Sunday with Fastlane, we're going to be doing a live viewing party of it. If you guys want to come and join and talk with us about Fastlane, hit the subscribe button. Look for us on Sunday. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hour before the pay-per-view gets started. We do a pre-show. We talk about wrestling. We'll have our predictions, and by ours, I mean Dawson, myself, and Brad, who's not here due to work commitments. We will put our predictions in for Fastlane. That's for our Never Over World Championship that Benjamin currently has the title for. At the end of the podcast here, he'll give his predictions. The champ will give his picks, and that will be for Fastlane. That is, of course, on this Sunday. So
it's funny enough that we had Dave K. Jones was calling out for Brad. By the way, which one of you is Brad? Jedi Battlemaster? Jedi Battlemaster, yeah, it's Brad's online handle. That's also his Twitter. It's his Twitter name is very close to J Battlemaster. He's done some incredible artwork for us for WWE Superstars. One of which got picked up before Eliminate. No,
it was around the same time last week, maybe
a couple weeks ago, where Alexa Bliss got a retweet from Alexa Bliss, which is very, very cool.
The artist is not here. I don't know. He's got a work commitment, but let's spin it that we locked him away in a basement, and we were like, make more art.
Yeah, we need more retweets.
Pump things out, because that's what the wrestlers will retweet it, and then people will come and watch us more, and hopefully they will like what we're saying and stick around, or they'll just be like, where's the guy who pumps out art? We're marks for art. That's all we're here for. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. If you've kind of enjoyed this, hit subscribe. Kurt Angle. I love Kurt Angle. Great professional wrestler all around. Great real-life wrestler. He, I guess, won a gold medal with a broken frickin' neck. Rumor has it Kurt Angle will be on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.
Doing what?
I don't know. That's facing the Hardys. I don't know.
I think you see him. Him and Joe could do anything.
I was just going to say him and Samoa Joe.
I would love him and Sami Zayn to do something. Him and Kevin Owens to do something. Him and, I don't know.
Kurt Angle and anybody? Yeah, Kurt Angle could go with pretty much anybody and make them look good. Yeah. So
I think Kurt Angle has the capacity to go up against anybody still.
I think Kurt can still go.
Yeah.
It's like Kurt was phenomenal when he was a part of the WWE almost a decade ago, and he says himself he hit his prime after the WWE, which I can't understand.
He gave his prime years to TNA.
Yeah, so it's like, maybe he's regressing back to before TNA Angle.
Still fine. Still an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm okay with that. You could put a world title on Kurt Angle. So you could put Kurt Angle wherever, and I think he'd work out well. Samoa Joe, I asked this last week in the podcast. What was it? Main Event Mafia?
Yeah.
Joe, was he the leader? Was Joe the leader for that? Was Kurt Angle a part of that Main Event Mafia?
It was Joe, Kurt, Sting. Styles wasn't in there, I don't think. Daniels might have been in there. No, Daniels wasn't in there.
So what if you put together?
They could do the Main Event Mafia again with Sting, because Sting's still on contract if they were feeling really bold. and really wanted to bury TNA.
How would you get that across? Because it's
then you could put Finn Balor in there.
No,
as a heel.
I think Finn has to land in the club. If they were smart, they'd have the club. They'd have the great. They should have the great clicks come together. They could do a whole era on clicks.
Yeah, really.
Because they're starting to get them all. Like they have the club there now.
Japan's got like 3 now. Japan's got Bullet Club, Chaos, and Les Ingonables de Japon, which is a French name. But they're like they have Naito, who's their IWGP Intercontinental Champion, who is like being considered the GOAT right now.
Yeah.
For them, so he's the guy that does this.
Okay.
So he's putting on. He got a 5-star match the pay-per-view after Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay.
For Meltz, Big Dick Dave Meltzer.
Big Dick Dave. Yeah. Okay.
Ignorable.
So
I don't know that.
So that would be kind of neat though. Like if they brought Kurt back and they like put him right with Joe and then bring Sting back out from wherever he's at, put them together. The main event
Mafia.
The main event gangsters.
No.
They couldn't call them the main event Mafia.
I don't know.
But if they get those 3 guys, then all of a sudden it like. And I don't know why they don't do this kind of stuff more often. You put those 3 together, boom! You got something hot right off the top.
Instant draw.
Just putting them together. It was like SummerSlam last year when the club, Gallows and Anderson
and AJ and Finn were all backstage going for the 2 sweets.
And then Finn just appeared out of nowhere, just from being at like NXT Takeover the night before, rolls out and they're all just like, too sweet me, too sweet me, and then he didn't. It was just like. If you put them all together right away, boom, you got something right off the top because it's kind of like a super group getting back together for like music, or if it's a TV show where like a beloved character that left comes back. You love those moments.
Yeah.
And so if they did it, and wrestling's done it too. Like they revived D-Generation X early 2000s for a stint. Like people like that kind of stuff, but like the club has never been done here. Like we haven't seen the club. The Bull Club's been around for years, but we haven't gotten to really appreciate it. Besides 2 guys being called the club.
And so is that the WWE being like, we know we have money when we need it, so we're just gonna keep AJ and Finn and Gallows and Anderson over here and not do it yet because we know we have guaranteed money when the pot needs it.
Yeah, I think the problem they run into every time is, though, they never hit that moment where they need the money.
Yeah, exactly.
So they always just put it off, then it never happens. Guys get too old, someone gets injured, someone's done, someone moves on.
Yeah, which is why you never got, like, Triple H and CM Punk, which is why you never got, like, CM Punk main eventing WrestleMania, because they're like, we know we'll draw.
It's an instant thing, we'll sell the arena, like, it doesn't have to happen now, we'll do it later. But you miss those moments. Those things never happen. I think they'd be much better off if Kurt comes back, have him and Joe, boom, together right away. Have Sting appear. Oh man, like you'd blow the roof off it. All of a sudden, you got to watch Raw all the time now because all of a sudden they put together the main event Mafia, and they shouldn't be concerned about like things are pretty good now. Like we'll save it for a rainy day. It should be, man, we could blow the ball rolling off of this if we, on that Monday night after WrestleMania, we assembled the main event Mafia and the Hardys appeared.
Yeah.
Boom! All of a sudden, Raw's the big show again.
Well, they're never gonna load the top of the card with 5 former TNA guys like that. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, but Kurt's a former WWE guy, and the Hardys are former WWE guys. They
would never.
See, and I think they should. They should learn from AJ Styles that people want the greatness and they want to see it in its full potential, at full power. They want to see that greatness regardless of where it's at. And I think AJ's the shining example of that. He was never part of the WWE besides a very brief stint, like early 2000s. But it's just like he came, he was great, people loved him. Oh, they never do it. Then they made him champion, and he was the phenomenal one. That lives up to his name. they should be loading up. They got so much talent all over the place that they should load up and make it like there's no reason why Raw can't feel like an epic pay-per-view. SmackDown feel like an epic pay-per-view. You have if you did it the right way, you have all this talent oozing everywhere. And if you keep adding, and I said it last week, like the mid-card, top of the card is feeling thin. They need to keep adding guys like this. It's like you throw in the Hardys, you throw in Kurt, like you got to keep adding and pumping into it. You got to keep rising guys from like NXT and making them like put them into situations to succeed and grow. Like we talk often about Cesaro and Anderson when the two of them wrestled against each other probably a month ago, 6 weeks ago. In a singles match. Anywhere else, like they put on a 4-star minimum match. Like this is what they should be striving towards. They should WWE should be like, we own all the big guys from everywhere.
Yeah, but like Raw is still bad for a reason. Like because they don't
do those things. Yes, and it's kind of the question is, are they comfortable with the amount of money they're making now? If they are, they'll never change. So it's like, okay, this is the status quo. Like, Raw will never be better because this is where they're at. This is where they're comfortable with.
Like, SmackDown's competitive because they want to take at a Raw.
Yeah, Raw's automatically given the crown for being the A show.
SmackDown's roster and their writing team wants to take the chunk at a Raw. So that's why they keep. I think that's why they keep delivering a great show, because Raw is the slow-moving monolith that just continues to draw 3 million people every Monday night somehow.
Yeah.
And so SmackDown has a point to prove against Monday Night Raw, which is cool.
Yep.
But ultimately, it's only making Raw look worse, and they're still not going to try and fix it because it's still making, like you said, it's still making enough money.
It's still making an amount that they're obviously comfortable with, and that's, I think, the issue.
Yep.
It's like they must think that, these are the good days, like these are the new good days, but it's like, no, man, like if you pushed the limit, you would have this be massive. Every week would feel big, and you'd want to tune into it every week because there's just talent oozing from everywhere. Like Raw, if you push that where it's just the main event, and then to your point, it forced SmackDown to be better and them to push the envelope to catch Raw, then they'd be an unstoppable force.
Well, that's why Vince loves competition, and Raw has no competition, but SmackDown does.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it's like they should be just pushing the boundaries of Raw, and it's like, that Monday after WrestleMania, they should have Samoa Joe and Kurt working together in some way, allude to the main event Mafia, have the Hardys reappear, go up against the New Day. You should look at trying to reassemble the club in some capacity, add Finn Balor to that group of the club, add Shinsuke Nakamura, because it seems like Finn and Shinsuke garnered and developed like a kind of a real friendship through NXT. Finn showing up last week to a taping of NXT and saving Shinsuke. Like those things are there. I think they should be pushing the envelope. So I think they got to start pushing it. They're going to have a lot of talent, and you can't sit on the talent anymore. It's time to push the boundaries. It's time to push storylines. It's time to make everything feel important, because you're getting close to having a lot of talent all of a sudden. So they gotta push the limits. They gotta really go for it. So,
you know what happens before the Raw after WrestleMania?
Crowd's really lively, that Raw.
You know what event takes place before the Raw after WrestleMania? WWE Fastlane.
Oh, I wasn't sure what you're getting at. You're saying what happens before the Raw after WrestleMania, and I was like, there's nothing. That's a night.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens between now and then. There's Fastlane, and then there's WrestleMania, and then there's the Raw after WrestleMania. But to that point, if you're going to be watching WWE Fastlane, may as well make it may as well tag on another couple people to that viewing. Join us right here on Never Over Live for a live viewing party of WWE Fastlane. We will be sitting here breaking down the matches, our live reactions, results as they happen.
Talking to you guys.
Did we come back? OBS? Reconnection successful. Oh, no, we're back.
Oh, okay.
OBS with that reconnect.
Sorry about that. No, but yeah, that's, a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of things to talk about, and as the night goes on, we see more storylines develop, and, we enjoy talking to you guys, and engaging with you guys. You guys have questions. It's fun to just, in kind of today's world, like, you don't have to kind of do things alone, and it's like, if you're sitting and you're going to put on the network on your TV and you're like, okay, I'm going to watch Fastlane, turn on your laptop and flip it over to Never Over Live. You don't have to watch the pay-per-view alone. You can have your thoughts and have the conversations and the dialogues all right away. So that's what we're here for. So, if you're interested in that, if that sounds appealing to you, hit the subscribe button down below. Look for us 7 p.m. on Sunday for WWE Fastlane.
I'm going to get to my predictions now. So, as the champ, typically we do, all three of us do a predictions version of the podcast the Wednesdays before, just like we do a podcast every Wednesday. No, wait, today's Thursday. Every Thursday night.
Thursday, yep.
Yeah, sorry, we used to do it Wednesdays, now we do it Thursdays. So every Thursday night we do the Wrastle Recap podcast where we talk about the week in wrestling, mostly the WWE, but if anything pops up and it's pertinent in the ecosystem, the stratosphere, pardon the pun, of the pro wrestling world, we, have a little bit of a candor on it, and we all have opinions on it. We all like to share those with not only ourselves, but with you. It's a conversation, if I can borrow a line from Philip DeFranco, that we like to have between ourselves, but also with the viewers, you guys, as well. So, like Dawson said, make sure you join us this Sunday for Fastlane. Make sure you join us every Thursday for the Wrastle Recap podcast. And make sure that you join us the big day, April 2nd, for WrestleMania 33. It's going to be a doozy. We're going to have a huge show lined up that particular night. So, without further ado, I'm going to start at the bottom of the card.
Please.
So, not including the Cruiserweight kickoff tag match.
Because it doesn't matter.
No, okay, so, and I'm going to go from the bottom up.
Yep, so, start from the bottom.
First match, and I'm going to make a note here.
Sure.
I'm doing this on the fly.
Yeah, that's...
I'm rolling the dice.
Yeah,
Raw has been bad. Raw has been terrible, and I have not put the investment in that I should be on Monday Night Raw. I get the cliff notes, and I'm out. So yeah. I got my predictions, and I'm just looking at the list, and I'm going. Yeah. I'm going.
Yeah, no, it's alright.
So bottom of the card, first match, Sasha Banks and Nia Jax. Going with Sasha Banks. Keep track of this, please.
Oh,
get your feather inscribed, monkey.
Oh boy, that's not okay. Yes. Hello. Beep boop 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 beep. Sasha. Okay.
Raw Tag Team Championship match: The Club and Enzo and Cass. Enzo and Cass.
Okay.
Cruiserweight Championship match: Neville versus Jack Gallagher. Jack Gallagher. Raw Women's Championship match: Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman.
Really roll through those first 4 picks. But then all of a sudden you hit the big dog and all the questions come alive. Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. And the Universal Championship match: Kevin Owens versus Bill Goldmeme. I have chosen Bill Goldmeme.
Yeah, I had that one written down for you before you said it.
Okay.
So that's... Are you missing one?
Nope. Sasha, Enzo and Cass, Jack Gallagher. Yes, I am.
I was gonna say there's 8 matches.
I'm missing Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. Oh yeah. Man.
I can start the first 2 letters of that one. Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe. S-A...
Samoa Joe. Not happy about it. But they'll put on a hell of a match. It's the shining light. I'm honestly looking forward to that match, and I'm actually looking forward to the Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman match as well.
Because there's a lot of unpredictability with those, so yeah, I agree.
And so I'll go in as to why I chose Braun Strowman as well. I was trying
before you do, so of the 7 matches, do you want to change any that you just made? Do you just want to take one more look through before we lock it in for you, and then that'll be your picks for Sunday's pay-per-view? While Benjamin reviews that, I'll mention that if you see right up here on our overlay, the Never Over People's Championship, that's where you guys can get involved. That's where we put a poll out to you guys.
We should have that ready.
You predict the pay-per-view. You predict Fastlane.
It's going to be in the description of this video.
Yeah, it'll be in the description of this video once we're done with the live stream. That's where your opportunity to pick the card. Pick Fastlane. Maybe you can pick it better than us. Maybe you can pick it better than the people. We got up here Kev Bone. See Kev Bone right there. Kev Bone is still champ. I think we got Pinch in there. I don't know if Pinch actually won at Elimination Chamber. I don't think Pinch did. So I think that's kind of a typo, but good for Pinch for having his name sneak into that overlay. But no, Kev Bone has 3 pay-per-views in a row. He's predicted the whole thing correctly. There's a technicality where he missed out on Elimination Chamber, but
to a no contest.
We're like, it doesn't matter. Kev Bone, he is champ, not Pinch though, but Pinch, congrats for sneaking through. Kev Bone is the undisputed Never Over People's Champion, so once this live stream's done, once the video goes up, check the description below and you will see the poll there. Benjamin, your picks, are you confident to lock in your picks?
I want to change the Neville Gallagher one.
To Neville, okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so now you wanted to, well, if you're good there, I'll close my phone.
Yep.
And that will be that, so you're good?
Yep.
Okay, so Benjamin's picks are in for Sunday. Now, you wanted to talk a little bit about, kind of wrap up our podcast here. Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, why?
See, I was trying to think about how Undertaker gets involved. I was trying to figure out at what point he comes out, whether he comes out after the match, after a Roman Reigns win. And I was trying to figure out whether he causes a DQ for Roman's favor, which would give Braun the win. I don't think that's going to be the case. I have Roman about to hit the spear.
Lights go out.
Lights go out, gong. Roman's looking at the stage. Braun hits him with... and that's how Braun wins. Braun then turns around, hits him with the running slam, and wins.
Right.
I feel like Undertaker's going to cause a distraction and then maybe come out after the fact.
Yeah.
But I feel like Undertaker is going to cost Roman the match.
Yeah.
Because Roman eliminated him at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then that sets up their match for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I definitely feel...
something's going to happen because they got a weird situation with the fact that it's like the Raw has accidentally stumbled ass backwards into something great that is Braun Strowman and his momentum of being a beast.
And they have to keep
that. And you got to keep that momentum rolling.
Whether they go with the Giant Slayer gimmick where Roman gets the win and wins clean, and then, like, the only thing I see is, no, but see, that wouldn't make sense. They do the match, and then there's a rematch the next night. 'Cause usually it's usually how it goes. It's face. They'll have a rematch on Raw, and then Undertaker will come out then. Just, oh my God, Undertaker on Raw, blah, blah, blah. But no, I don't know. If they were smart, they'd do Undertaker at Fastlane.
Yeah.
And then set it up from there.
I agree, yeah. Plus, I've thought about it a lot. I don't think the Giant Slayer...
It's a terrible gimmick.
It is a bad gimmick that I don't think will work. I think it will not really go anywhere. But other than that, I think that kind of concludes Wrastle Recap Podcast number 16 for March 2nd. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to go back and check our other ones. We always kind of talk about a little bit of fantasy booking, talk about what's going on in wrestling, and kind of predict the future. So we always enjoy it. We do this every Thursday nights, kind of roughly the same time. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll see the notification when we go live. You can come in, you can chat with us. We'll incorporate the questions as we go along, and just have a nice conversation about wrestling. And we stick primarily to WWE, but we got enough knowledge between the three of us to go everywhere. So again, I think that's it for us here on the couch. This has been Wrastle Recap Podcast number 16. Make sure you check us out on Sunday for Fastlane. Make sure to fill out the Never Over People's Championship poll. It'll be in the description below. I'm Dawson. That's Benjamin, our Never Over World Champ. Brad's not here, so Brad's the cuck this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on Sunday.